There's a party going on right now in Egypt because everyone has heard the news that Jota Silva is a Red. Welcome to your Forest transfer news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. I hope you guys are doing well. And welcome to this party atmosphere as Jota Silva has been confirmed as a Red. Who are you lot saying? Who? I'm going to explain it all to you. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And let me get out of this noise so we can talk proper Forest shop here. But I'm telling you, I told these guys just now, Silva's been confirmed. The music started blasting and everyone is excited. But who is Silva? Let's get into that. All right, guys, I've stepped out of the party atmosphere just behind me there. Honestly, you tell the Egyptians that he's a Red and they all go crazy and the music starts blasting. But while we're here, while it's a little calmer, let me bring you right up to speed because this news was breaking last night that Forest were getting close to completing the deal. And we were hearing talks that this was going to be done on the cheap. There was talks they had a release clause of £16.8 million, but his club in Portugal was so desperate for money right now that they were going to deal on the cheap side. And in swoop Nottingham Forest. And this one's fascinating because West Ham, I know for a fact, have been after Jota Silva for the last 2 months or so. There have been some clubs in Italy as well trying to get hold of him and a few others interested. And Forest has just gone and done it pretty much overnight. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating. None of these deals get done that quickly. But the real question is, who is he? Well, he's called the Jack Grealish of Portugal. So off the bat, that should please a lot of you. Maybe a few of you don't know him. He's had a huge breakout season last year in the Portuguese league, helping his club finish 5th in the league, scoring, I think, 11 goals and getting 5 assists. That's like 15 contributions, goal contributions in the season. And he just plays in a style of football that I love. He's a right winger. Yes, you heard me, a right winger, but he can play left. He can play left. So we've ticked that must be left-sided link on this one. But predominantly he's on the right-hand side. And he does remind me a lot of Grealish, but more so I would say a Jared Boyer. I forgot his name now, the dude from West Ham. And I think that's the style of player we're getting, but with more pace. Because what he is, he contributes a lot in goals from out wide. He's like a focal point for the start of a lot of counter-attacks, for example. So what you could see happening, fitting into Forest here, he comes in on the right-hand side. You would potentially see maybe Murillo starting a counter-attack with a lovely crossfield ball going to Jota Silva's feet. And then what he's not afraid of doing is charging and dribbling at the defenders. He's very physical. And this is why I think he'll work well in the Premier League. And he can take his player on, but it's his football IQ, ladies and gents. The thing I've been screaming out that Elanga's been lacking. This man has it in abundance. He picks the right thing at the right time. And he's got a lot of flair about him. He plays with flair and with that sense of arrogance. And at 24 years old, he's not even come into the peak of his powers yet. Now, in terms of his weaknesses, he can get caught offside a few times. He can be quite eager to break through the defensive line, which I don't think he needs to do with the amount of pace he's got in his locker. So, you know, he will learn that. He will learn that. In terms of other weaknesses as well, you got to think that he's not Prem proven, even though I think his attributes, his physiques, his pace, his deliveries, etc., they will all fit in well with the Premier League. So I technically wouldn't count that as a negative. He's from Portugal. I don't know what his English is like, but obviously Nuno being Portuguese will be, you know, easy to communicate with him. He'll be able to communicate with the likes of Murillo, with the rest of the Brazilians, etc. So slotting in should not really be a problem for Jota Silva at all. And I'm just extremely excited. I just can't believe how quickly this one has developed. Now, is it a case of he will go straight in and replace Elanga? I don't think so. He'll need a couple of games to get on the board, you know, to get up to speed with the Forest tactics, with the Nuno way of playing and everything else. So it'll be interesting to see how that one develops. But honestly, personally for me, I would put him in instead of Elanga. What would you guys do? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, so let's break down the deal for you. So in essence, it's 7 million euros, which is about £5.5 million. But it has 3 millions in very, very easy add-ons. And that's if he plays, I think it was 15 games. So realistically, this is a 10 million euro deal. So about 8.3 million pounds. Absolute peanuts for a player of this quality at this age. I don't know how Forest are doing these deals. Honestly, some of these deals we have done, you look at Silva, you look at what we did with Milenkovic, you look at what we did with De Silva, you look at the others coming in, and the recruitment cannot be knocked at Forest right now. It's absolutely top notch. Whether or not you think the players are correct or that they will be the ones that, you know, take us forward, you can't argue the prices Forest are pulling these out the hat from. Look at Carlos Miguel as well, 3.4 million. So back to this Silva. Sorry, I'm just getting excited. I'm getting excited about this team, the squad being put together. So in essence, it will be 10 million euros because he will play 15 games. I have very little doubt that he won't do that. But on top of that, there's another 3 millions in add-ons if he scores 10 or more goals. Now, hopefully, we end up paying 13 million for him, because if we pay 13 million, he scored 10 goals and he's had one hell of an impact on the season. Now, realistically, is he going to do that from out wide in the Premier League? Well, he can do, because he's not only good at scoring goals, he's good at assisting goals. And even though he's like 5'10", he scored 2 or 3 goals last season, coming in at the back post from headers. And it's those headers where he's not afraid to get hurt, even as a man of only 5'10", 5'11". He will throw himself at the ball with zero fear. And that's another thing that endears me to him. So I am so over the moon on this one. I just can't believe how quickly this one has progressed. What a great deal of business from Forest. And I hand on heart hope we end up paying 13 million euros. Because if we do, that's what, 11.5 million pounds. What a deal. Right, I need to cool off and walk on the beach, and let's go and talk to you about the next bit of news. All right, let's move on and talk about some departures from Forest. And that, of course, is Lewis O'Brien. We told you the other day that he was on his way to LAFC, and that has been confirmed on a 6-month deal on a loan with an option to buy. Now, obviously, the MLS League runs at different times to the Premier League, hence why it's 6 and not 12. But again, I don't want to say too much on this. I've said plenty on Lewis O'Brien. There's 100% a Premier League player in there. It's just a shame that he hasn't really caught his break. You know, he looked good really early doors in the Premier League in that first month or two when we got promoted. But then it just never really worked out. So it is what it is. I wish him all the best. He's a quality player, and he's going to LA. Now, he has rejected, just to remind you guys, Sheffield United. MLS's draw is way bigger than Sheffield's, which is absolutely hilarious. But to be honest, would I pick LA or would I pick Sheffield? I think there's only one winner there. There were a couple of other championship clubs that he did say no to. He has, of course, been to USA a season or two ago, playing under Rooney at DC United. So clearly he feels that there are some routes that can be made there for him in America. So that's Lewis O'Brien gone. And let's move on to our next story. All right, I hope I don't look too dark, but I just had to take a quick breather and just enjoy this stunning view with you. Don't worry about looking at me if the lights are good on me or not. So just enjoy the beauty that God has created behind us here. And while you do that, let me update you on the latest issues with, well, not issues, the fun news with the wingers. We brought you yesterday, obviously, Wesley from Corinthians, heavily and strongly linked to Nottingham Forest. We know we're still interested in Sosa. And now we've just added into this beautiful set of ingredients, Jota Silva as well. And what does this mean? Is Jota Silva coming in instead of one of those other two, or is it now a 1 out of 3, or what's the scenario here? Well, it's our understanding that Forest will definitely want Jota Silva as a standalone signing because, as I said, predominantly he plays on the right-hand side. And then it's going to be one of two from Sosa or Wesley. And they will be looking most likely to be the understudy if it's Wesley to Callum Hudson-Odoi, or if it's Sosa, because he's versatile and can play on the right-hand side, we could potentially see him take that role as well. But again, still second fiddle to Callum Hudson-Odoi. So what I'm saying here is that we are going to get 2 out of the 3, if we can. If I had to put a bet on it now, I don't think the Sosa deal is going to come off. I just think there are too many complications in terms of his club currently, how they're trying to make things as difficult as possible. For him to come through to Forest, it will probably take some kind of strike by the player just to really push the agenda for him to come. And in terms of Wesley from Corinthians, I think that one's a lot easier to do. We already know what Forest will need to offer. There's some talks it could be as low as 16 mil now. There's talks it could be as high as 25 mil euros. Forest know what they need in terms of the family negotiations, the rights and all that stuff you have to do with the Brazilian players. So that one, even though I think is easier to do, may still take a little time to dot the I's and cross the T's on that one. And then what we'll see is Forest moving on to the other key positions that Nuno has outlined. Once these wingers are done, and we believe that this is his priority because he has mentioned wingers repeatedly in many interviews over the last couple of weeks. I think the next priority will then be the striker, and we'll be coming up with a list of candidates for you over the next couple of days. So that's where we are on the wingers, and let's move on and talk about the goalkeepers. Okay, so the latest on Aaron Ramsdale. Now, it's not too much to tell you about, but we may as well give you the update. This is what we do know. There are a couple of clubs that are in for him. You got Forest and you got Southampton are the main two names that are floating around. But neither club want to pay the asking price from Arsenal, which originally was 50 million, but they've reduced it down to 30 million. Still, no one wants to blink on that. You got to remember as well, Ramsdale's on about 120k a week, so it's high salary. Now, Forest's stance on this is pretty straight. What they're saying here is that they are interested in Ramsdale, but they're in no rush to sign him, nor are they anywhere near thinking about paying the 30 million that Arsenal are wanting for him. Forest will be happy to do a loan deal on him and pay his full wages of 120k. But they won't make a move on him until late in the window, unless we see something develop before there. Let's just say Southampton decide to come in on a loan move and things start moving then Forest may step into it. But right now, they're not treating it as an absolute priority. It is a we want to do on our list. But in terms of where it lies, it's behind the wingers, behind the strikers, behind the central midfielder and behind the left back as well. So it will be revisited towards the end of the window. Now what that will allow as well is Nuno to have a look at the likes of Miguel, likes of Sells, maybe even Turner over these next 2 games that we got coming up Friday and next week as well. And just assess whether or not he thinks there's enough stopping power at the back or he does need to go for this third keeper. But if Ramsdale is available and he is a viable option, you can see why Forest are seriously considering this one. Would you take him or not? Let me know in the comments down below. And ladies and gents, that brings you up to date with your latest Forest news. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Leave your thoughts and comments in down below. Thank you to all the comments you've made so far while I've been away on holiday. They've kept me entertained. Sorry I haven't had time to reply to them all, but I've had to try and get some time in with the wife and kids. So if you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. Let me just adjust that. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. Come on, you Reds.